Good morning. It is Thursday, February 20th, 2025. Time is now about 8:30 in the morning, and Waking Up with Wesley starts right now. I'm Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Good morning, and are you able to, get through this morning without turning into a popsicle? Because it's cold out there, and we won't be thawing for a couple of days. So we have to talk about how cold it is this morning, how cold it will stay all day today, and how cold it will get again tonight. I think it will be even colder tonight for some places, and I'll explain why in just a few moments. So without further ado, let's get to the latest information. We've got that February freeze underway, low pressure pushing offshore, and the circulation behind that bringing in those cold winds from the north. So this is a look at our temperature in places like Gulfport, which has steadily fallen for the last few hours. Looks like it's about as cold as it has been the entire night. It's sitting at 30 degrees at the Gulfport airport right now. And it's not too far from record-setting territory. I think the record to beat today will be 27 for Gulfport, and they're probably not going to tie or beat that record. One of the reasons why it's not going to have the temperature drop that cold is because the wind is really elevated. And there's kind of, as far as the science of weather goes, when it comes to cold overnight temperatures, the higher the wind actually keeps the temperature higher as well. But when you have a calm wind, that actually allows for rapidly falling temperatures. And so you can have a higher or a colder potential for temperatures on overnights and mornings when the wind is calmer during this time of year. And that is what I think will play a key role in tomorrow morning being even colder, because it won't be as breezy. It's not going to be a calm morning. It just won't have the wind speed quite as high. So as we take that wind speed down by a few miles an hour tomorrow morning, temperatures could drop more. You've been looking at this temperature map. I'm sure you found your town and your community on the map. As we blow that a little bit larger for you, you can see temperatures kind of wound up exactly like we expected. We tell you all the time when we talk about on the coast and inland, well, take a look at places that are on the coast. Temperatures there as of 8:40 a.m. are in the lower 30s. But then take a look at places that are generally inland, mainly to the north of I-10. That's where we find the coldest numbers this morning, into the mid-20s in some places like Poplarville and portions of Pearl River County. But about the wind speed, well, it's always windiest, it seems, down along the coast. So you're looking at winds in Lucedale around 7 miles an hour, near Big Level around 10 miles an hour, near Wiggins. Perkinston only 5 miles an hour. But once you get down closer to the coast, that's where you see these higher wind speeds. So you got winds basically between 10 to 20 miles an hour from Bay St. Louis to Gulfport to Biloxi to Miles Point, Pascagoula. So when you have that higher wind, that makes it feel colder. So now we'll take a look at the wind chill numbers, and you can see that we have wind chill numbers down into the teens for coastal places like Moss Point. The wind chill is 19 degrees. That coming in from the Trent Lott Airport. We do have a 20 just to the east of Pascagoula, right on the coast. You can see 21 at Keesler in Biloxi, but then when you go to area north of the bay in Biloxi, 31 for the wind chill. So even in just one town, you can have a 10-degree variation in the wind chill. Just depends on how much wind is blowing at your location at that moment. And these observations really only update every few minutes, but your body updates every second. You are feeling the difference in wind. So sometimes the wind chill moment by moment can't really even be captured by conventional weather station data, and it really just boils down to how hard the wind is blowing, where you are outside at your specific location at that very moment in time. So you're looking at numbers into the teens, basically all across Hancock and Pearl River counties for that wind chill. That's why we have this cold weather advisory. Again, I remind you that these are newer type of alerts. We haven't really had a full winter season with the alert called cold weather advisory. This alert is issued when there is the expectation of bitter cold wind chills. So it's It has basically replaced the old school alert, which used to be called a wind chill advisory. That's been discontinued. There's no longer a wind chill advisory. It's been replaced with cold weather advisory. And they've also discontinued the hard freeze warning. If you're used to hearing those, like I've been for the last decade or more, that's been discontinued. And hard freeze warnings have kind of been rolled into the cold weather advisory, but really the only thing that triggers cold weather advisories, to my knowledge, is a wind chill in the teens for South Mississippi. Now, it's even worse once you go farther to the north. North Mississippi under extreme cold warning, and you got the plains with those extreme cold warnings as well. The reason they made this change, the National Weather Service made this change to those alert products, is so that it can more closely resemble what we get with alerts in the summer. In the summer, we have a heat advisory and an extreme heat warning. So they wanted the winter ones to reflect that as well, with a cold weather advisory and an extreme cold warning. And the ones in the summer are triggered by heat index. So the ones in the winter are expected to be triggered by wind chill. Now take a look at this. So we are under a cold weather advisory right now, but that's going to end during the 9 or 10 o'clock hours for South Mississippi. But don't get complacent. Another one is already ready to go tonight. So we have another cold weather advisory in place for Thursday night into Friday morning. We are again expecting wind chill in the bitter cold teens when we wake up tomorrow morning along the Mississippi coast. So this is a look at Thursday, where you see those wind chills during the 9 o'clock hour, the next hour, getting into the 20s and teens. Now, later in the day, you know, your warmest part of the day would be around 3 p.m. and the wind chills are barely getting above the 30s. If you have some plans around 6 p.m. tonight, you can see those wind chills already falling to near freezing. So by 6 p.m., it will feel like it is freezing outside. And then take a look at 9 p.m., the wind chills back into the 20s. That gets our next cold weather advisory triggered by then as we go to the overnight hours, because we're going to start to see them dropping pretty close to the teens overnight. We can take a look at the wind chill trend versus temperature trend today. And let's show you that. You know, this morning, here we are with freezing or near freezing temperatures on the coast and wind chills in the 20s on the coast as well. But as we go to the afternoon, this is kind of your warmest part of the day here, 2, 3, 4 p.m. We'll see temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, but the wind chill barely gets above 40. So as you can see, for most of the day, the wind chill will be below 40. So for most of the day, it will feel cold. But the plus side is at least there's more sunshine. Yesterday we had all those clouds. Today there's more sun. So that will make it look prettier, and maybe you can pretend it's warmer, even though it will technically still be colder than yesterday. So more details about tonight. We are again going into the freezer. I think tonight's freeze has the potential to be colder. We mentioned why, because the wind is not going to be quite as high as it was last night, and that allows for temperatures to drop a little bit more. We'll also have mostly clear skies for the majority of the night. That also helps temperatures to fall rapidly overnight. And you can see the duration of the freeze could be a little longer. Now, these numbers are for the coast, not inland, but you can see the temperature numbers begin to freeze around 11 p.m. and stay in the freezer through 8 o'clock Friday morning. So that's, you know, more than 8 hours of freezing temperatures. That's the type of stuff that damages pipes. So if you do live on the coast, this night, Thursday night to Friday morning, would be a great time to make sure your pipes are protected. Wrap those pipes, run the faucet, drip pencil thin stream as you go to Thursday night. Of course, it goes without saying you'd be protecting plants as well, since plants would be damaged by those temperatures as well, sensitive vegetation. Hey, you got wind chills as well that are harmful to people and pets basically the entire night, anywhere from 9 p.m. tonight to 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. tomorrow. Wind chills are cold enough that you want to bring those pets indoors. If you have animals or livestock, make sure that their water is kept unfrozen overnight. Make sure that they have warm shelter if your animals have to be outside. But again, bring those pets inside for sure. Temperatures, like we said, are cold enough to produce a hard freeze. I think we're guaranteed that hard freeze for places inland like George, Stone, and Pearl River counties. And we're also basically guaranteed that hard freeze for anywhere generally north of I-10 in Jackson, Harrison, and Hancock counties. North of I-10, and those places would be including the Kill, parts of Diamond Head, areas near Saussure, and areas near Van Cleve. We actually have a map here to help you out, help you understand where we're going to see those mid-20s. So in Hancock County, mid-20s are forecast for parts of Dido, parts of the Kill and Diamond Head. And you can see on the county line there, Dido, also seeing those mid-20s. You can also see mid-20s in DeLille, mid-20s in Orange Grove and Wool Market, as well as parts of D'Iberville that are generally north of I-10. Once you go closer to the Bay in D'Iberville, south of I-10, it might not be in the mid-20s, but again, all of these places on the map, you're basically in the mid-20s. You do want to make sure all protections for all P's, pipes, people, pets, plants are in place. Jackson County, you can also see mid-20s county. We have the Pascagoula River, and that river, the riverbed allows for cold air to drain closer to the coast. So even on places that are by the waterfront, because that river allows for air to sink down to the riverbed, cold air sinks, hot air rises, so that cold air sinks along the riverbed and rides all the way down toward the coast. So places like Pascagoula and Gaucher could see those freezing temperatures in the mid-20s, dangerous or possibly damaging to pipes. Like we mentioned, Pearl River, Stone, and George counties, no differentiation there. County-wide, you have another night. In addition to last night, you have another night now with those freezing temperatures expected. So real quick here before we go, I just want to mention, if you are not a fan of cold air, we are already looking at milder weather by next week. Right now we're in the throes of this cold outbreak across the country, but take a look ahead to next week. Around next Tuesday, we are going to start to tap into some warmer conditions trying to move in from the west, and this will actually help our temperatures to rise above normal eventually. So even though right now we're looking at below normal days, today and tomorrow the temperatures barely getting above freezing, today and tomorrow the temperatures barely getting above 50. By the weekend, we'll see temperatures closer to 60, and then next week we're looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, the latest information shows maybe a brief cool down next Friday, the 28th, the final day of February, but then look at the first day of March. Next Saturday, March 1st, might be around 70. So already be thinking about the big parade weekend. That's the weekend of Mardi Gras, right? The Saturday before Fat Tuesday, and you're looking at a high temp of around 70. And again, just a friendly reminder, spring, it will feel spring like next week, but on the calendar, spring officially starts exactly 4 Thursdays from today, exactly 1 month from today on Thursday, March 20th. So something to look forward to if you are not a fan of winter. But if you are someone who enjoys cold temperatures, take advantage of it now while supplies last. We still have a couple of days left today, tonight, and tomorrow with those really below normal temperatures. And then we'll see some moderation into the weekend and beyond. So thank you so much for waking up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams, and we'll catch you again on the next video. Take care.